Hello, everyone, and good morning. Thank you for coming to the weekly live for relationship communications. Welcome to this week's weekly live. I'm thrilled that you're here with me. If you are joining me live, please say hello in the comments and let me know where you're coming in from. I would love to hear that. For those of you joining for the first time, I'm Lisa DeToffol, and I'm the founder of Relationship Communications. It's my online community where I work with established and aspiring entrepreneurs. And today I'm going to be your host for Relationship Communications Weekly Live, which is my weekly live stream show that airs every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So I hope you'll put that on your calendar and make plans to join me every Friday morning as we have another episode of the weekly live. And my goal here is to share tactical and practical information to help you get where you want to go faster than you can go on your own. I've been an entrepreneur for 7 years. I've made many mistakes, and I'm here to tell you I can help you move through them more quickly by sharing what I have learned through my experiences. So let me know again if you're joining me live and where you're coming in from. And we are streaming in various different places. So again, thank you for joining me. If you are watching us on YouTube, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button or ring the bell so you can be notified every time that we do go live. So today's topic is how to protect your time as an entrepreneur. And this is a very important topic. But before I dive into my topic, I want to introduce myself. A little scratchy throat today, so I apologize. But when I was a preschool teacher back in 2017 and 25 years prior to that, I had dreamed from working from home. But I had been through 2 messy divorces and been a single mom twice. And it didn't seem possible at that time. I was the breadwinner of my household and really kind of scared to take that chance or take that leap to go out and do anything on my own. Then I met my husband, my current husband, in 2012, and that is when I could see the possibility of my dream coming true. However, it was not an easy task. So, with Jeff's support, I started a training program and learned how to become a virtual assistant and how to actually start my own business in 2018. And by the end of that program, I had a couple of clients and have continued to grow my business and the Tiger Eye Solution team, which was established in 2021, every single year. So my life looks a whole lot different now than it did back then. This is my husband, Jeff, our children, Caleb, Matthew, and Alyssa, and our grandchildren, John Price, Hattie, and Anakin. So, yes, our grandchildren keep us busy. We enjoy spending as much time as possible with them. And actually, this weekend, we get to celebrate Anakin's first birthday. He will be turning a year old in the next week. So, we're going to be celebrating this weekend. So, let's dive into how to protect your time as an entrepreneur. This topic is all about mindset, okay? We all have the same amount of time, same 24 hours in every day, right? But it's how we use it. How do you use your time? Any questions that you have as I'm talking and sharing about this topic, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments. And I'll, try to cover those at the end, or you can private message me and we can set up a time to talk. I would love to answer any questions you might have around this. So let's dive into this topic of time. We are, oh my goodness, almost at the end of June of 2025. This year is going by so quickly, right? But it's, we're ending the second quarter of the year. So half the year is almost gone. And so we're still, filled with hope for the second half of the year, right? And all the things or goals that we may have put in place. And they're still possible. It's still possible to reach whatever those goals are that you have set for yourself. And, we hope it's going to get better, or we hope that we accomplish, this goal, and this goal, right? And that business will take off or improve or expand, or whatever that looks like for you. and you don't have, a job outside of your business. All the things. And, while I am a believer in the power of hope, for sure, I'm also a believer in making sure you put a foundation together so that your business can grow and you can continue to move forward. And knowing what's important in business is not always intuitive. So I'm going to walk you through 3 things that you could put in place so that you can take your business to the next level before the end of this year, the second half of this year. So the first thing is a dedicated workspace. What I mean is that, a place that you can set up your computer, your pens, your printer, all the things you need and not be moving it all around. Now, I understand if you don't have maybe a whole bedroom like myself. We have an extra bedroom in my house, so we have it set up as an office, and that's my office. Now, you may not have that option, and that's okay, but have a specific area, whether it's a dining room table, maybe you don't use the dining room that often, you can set that table up as your desk and your office, or a corner of your bedroom. Maybe you could set up a desk there, and let that be your office and workspace. But you need a designated space so that you're not always moving your computer and all the things that you use to work with, from this room, this space, that space, all the time. You don't want to be doing that, okay? So, a lot of new business owners don't realize that this is such a big anchor, for us as a business owner. And they work on the couch or on the kitchen table, in a little space of it while everybody else is eating. It's summertime. I know your kids are home, right? Don't work at the kitchen table where your children are going to be eating breakfast and lunch and snacks, all throughout the day. That's going to be a big distraction for you. So don't try to work in a space where your kids are going to be doing things, especially during these summer months. Because like I said, I know your kids are home because it's summertime. I get that. So, your time, you may need to rearrange your time for the summer months since the kids are home, right? So, as you don't be working like on the couch, like I said, or at the kitchen table, all the different places where your kid's going to be, designate a specific space where you're going to have, be able to focus. It's going to be quiet so you can focus on the work that you have to do. And part of focusing is having a level of comfort. And you want that, to be soon. If you don't have a space already, you want to walk, in a room or in that space and okay, it's, get in the zone, kind of, so to speak. If you're a sports fan, you'll understand what that means. A lot of sports players use that, say they're in their zone when they're doing their best. So you want to have that zone. Okay, when you step into your workspace or you sit down at your desk, wherever that may be for you, you want to step in your zone of genius, right? Step into the zone of doing XYZ, whatever it is you do. And, your office space doesn't have to have all the expensive things. They can be used. It can be a used printer, a used desk, that came from Goodwill or a thrift store or whatever. That's perfectly fine. An old TV stand. Just make sure you have HDMI, the cable and the adapter and all the things so that you can hook up to Wi-Fi wherever you are setting up your space. So give that some thought, because it's really much easier to work when you have a designated workspace and also multiple screens if possible. I currently have 2 screens that I use. I would not want to go back to just one. In the very beginning, when I started my business, yes, I had just my laptop. That's what I started on. However, I have been able to expand to 2 screens. I would love to expand to 3. Hopefully, sometime in the future that will happen. I do have the room on my desk to set up a 3rd screen. I think there's an adapter or something that you have to get to be able to do that, but hopefully in the future that will happen. So again, give that some thought, and it's much easier when you have that designated space, and again the multiple screens if possible, so that it just makes it easier to get your work done, right? All right, the second thing I want to talk about is the importance of routine. You need to be able to block your schedule. So that includes time to eat, exercise, and time to work on your business and client or customers' work as well. You must set boundaries. Now, we've already talked about boundaries. I did a session. The past 3 weekly lives have been about boundaries. So if you need to go back and re-listen to those, please do so. But we have talked about boundaries. So you must set boundaries around your time and create a routine that protects that. Because otherwise, you're going to be pulled in every direction. And especially right now in the summertime when your kids may be home, right? And you don't want to be pulled in every direction that comes your way, okay? It's okay to tell family and friends you are working. Say your first work time of the day is going to be from 9 a.m. to noon. Maybe you take a 2-hour break or something at noon to go eat lunch with those kiddos, to feed them, all the things. So maybe you take a 2-hour break in the middle of the day, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine, especially during these summer months when you do have children at home to tend to as well. Or maybe you just take a 30-minute break so that you can end your day, say at 2 or 2:30, and then go take those kiddos to the park or to the pool, or whatever the case may be. Go do something fun with the kiddos in the afternoon after you're done with your work, right? Setting boundaries, setting up your time that you actually are going to work, right? So again, tell families and friends that you're working, because you need to protect your time, the time that you are working, right? So let them know, I'm going to be working from 9 a.m. to noon. Please do not disturb me. Set things up for the kids to do during that time. Maybe let that be movie time, or, a specific activity that they can kind of maneuver and do on their own while you're doing your work, right? And then take that break. Either it's a 30-minute break, just long enough to eat your food, or it's a 2-hour break so that you can actually go have lunch with your children, or whatever that looks like for you. And it's going to create like your office hours is basically what you're doing, right? And I know it's about your business. It's all about that. So sit down in that same chair at your desk with everything set up and determine exactly what time of the day you're going to be sitting there doing your work, and make sure it is clear to your family and friends. Okay. My office, I have a computer set up on my desk. And again, like I said, I have 2 screens, so I have plenty of workspace. So don't underestimate the mindset shift that will happen when you have an official place to work, when you have a workspace set up, whether it's in an actual office, extra bedroom like I do, whether it's in a corner of your bedroom or in the dining room, wherever that looks like for you. Don't underestimate the mindset shift that will happen when you have an official place to work. The thing to know is it doesn't have to be a big room at all. Some people don't start with a specific office space, and that's okay. That's okay if it's in the corner of your bedroom and you just sit in a chair with your laptop. That's perfectly fine. If you have to get things going and get to working with some clients to bring in some income and stuff to buy yourself a desk, that's perfectly okay. Okay. But you do, however, want to find that space quickly after starting your business. Okay. You want to have that designated space. Like I said, when you go to that space, you're going into your zone, your work zone. Okay. So that you can actually sit down and get the work done that you need to do for your clients and customers. If you have a door for that space, that's great. If you can't, it's okay. Like for me, yes, I have a door because my office is a bedroom actually in my house. It's an extra bedroom. We don't use it for a bedroom. We have it set up as an office. So yes, if I need to shut my door, I absolutely can. And my family knows when that door is closed, do not disturb me. Right? Sometimes if they do need to stick their head in and ask a question or something, they'll knock softly and open it slowly to see if I'm in the middle of something. I may be on a Zoom call, whatever the case is, to see if they can ask me a question or tell me something real quick. If they're leaving to go to work or, something to that effect, they'll tell me real quick and then go on their way. So they know that I'm busy working when I have my door closed, and they try not to interrupt me. Now you can still create a good workspace where you can concentrate in any space of your home or office or, wherever it is you're working. When you have to move from space to space, it's distracting. So pick a designated space to be your workspace or your office space. Okay. And like I said, if you don't have a desk or you're going to have to wait till you get some client work done under your belt and get some money coming in to purchase a desk, that's perfectly fine. But just go ahead and start trying to work in that same designated space where you're going to put that desk. Okay. To get yourself used to that being your workspace. And when you step into that space, you're stepping into the zone, right? The work zone. So make sure your desk is big enough to spread everything out. And I do recommend multiple monitors again, if that's possible for you. But if you're just starting out and that's not a possibility, I totally get that. Maybe put that as a goal, later on in the year or the beginning of next year, right? Again, if that's possible. I currently have 2 and hope to upgrade to 3 soon. They don't have to be expensive. They can be used. You can get them at Goodwill or, a thrift store or whatever. Just make sure, and sometimes you can even use an old TV for an extra screen, right? Just make sure that it can be hooked up to HDMI again. So, okay. So the thing about my friends and family, they don't need me to respond to everything immediately, right? Again, like I said, if my children are leaving for work or something and I have my door shut to my office, they'll just slowly open it, stick their head in and let me know they're leaving or whatever. And that's fine. They're not totally interrupting what I am doing at that given time, right? So, they understand too. Sometimes I can't respond, even if they send me a text message or try to call me or something of that nature. They understand that. Sometimes we get into the trap of thinking that we have to respond or something is going to happen, if we don't, and that makes us uncomfortable. It kind of makes us feel like leaving something undone, or we have to walk away from the work or whatever it is that we're doing at that given time to go take care of that. That's not always the case. Okay. If you have little children, I understand. My children are grown, so I don't have that to worry with. Um, but if your children are younger, I totally get that. Um, so just make sure they understand that, during X amount of time, you don't need to be interrupted. Okay. And in order to be successful, you have to learn to be comfortable with having something undone sometimes. Okay. If an emergency does happen, say you do have the small children in the house and one of them falls down and busts their nose or something, yes, you're going to have to leave whatever you're doing at that given time and go take care of that child. I totally get that. And that's perfectly fine. Don't think that because if I stop to take care of this, that specific second that it came up, that you're not going to get your work done your professional work done. Because you totally, at the end of the day, I would much rather have a thriving business and be able to go do things, shopping, or go spend time with those little kiddos, take them to the pool or to the park or go do something, go get ice cream, whatever that might look like. So for me, I would rather be able to go shopping with my daughter than have all the laundry done. Right. So for me, it's not taking that 2-hour break. It's more like taking that 30-minute break and just eating my food and being able to get done with my work at an earlier time in the afternoon so that, yeah, maybe me and my daughter could go shopping. Or right now we're starting to plan for her leaving for college in the fall. So some of the shopping is around college things or organizing all her college stuff that she's going to be taking with her, etc. Making sure she has all the things that she's going to need, getting everything in place with the specific school that she's going to, all those things. So it's just a matter of priority. And, I was raised the laundry is important and all the things, but I just made different choices. The laundry's not going anywhere. If I don't get to it today, it'll still be there tomorrow, right? Instead of doing it this afternoon when I'm done with work because I need to do something else with my daughter, it's okay. I can wait till tomorrow and do that laundry, right? It's still going to be there. It's still going to be dirty and it's going to still need to be done. So this can help you get the things that you use the most and look at it in a different way or a different dynamic in your relationships, those relationships that are close to you for sure, because you definitely want to set up those boundaries and those guidelines. And I can tell you that no one ever calls me while I'm working unless it's an emergency. They know the time frames that I'm going to be working. Or if it's a family member, my husband or my children, they'll text me and say, "Are you busy?" Because they know if I'm in a Zoom meeting, I'm not going to answer that phone. So if it is an emergency or if it is something they need to ask me or tell me or whatever at that given time, they'll text me first. "Are you busy?" If I can respond, I will. If I don't respond, they know I'm busy and that I will respond and get back to them as soon as I can. Right? So, like I said, they don't call. They know that I'm working and they know that I'm committed to my business and my work. And that like I said, I will get back to them as soon as I can. And by having these boundaries and these timeframes in place, I can provide for my family. And without the distractions, taking me away from my business and what I need to get done for my clients and customers, right? So when you think about it that way, if you think about shiny objects or multitasking, that's not going to get you to your why or get you to a successful business, right? So if you keep your why, maybe those little ones, or in my case, the grandbabies, my case, my daughter, and helping her get prepared to go to college. Those are key pieces. Keep them right front and center, right? And it keeps you focused. It helps you to be clear on why you started your business and why it is that you do what it is you do. So your why is important. What's the benefits going to be? So think about that. And when you're tempted to do something that's not really important, you'll think again, right? Type A tendencies is, your favor. Just pick different things to focus on. That's going to move the needle forward in your business to helping you become successful or more successful than what you are right now, right? Like I said, just pick different things to focus on. Angie Porterfield has a podcast that's like, she talks about Tiger Time. She talks about putting time on your calendar to work on your business. And I do this every Monday is the day that I work on my business. I do things for my business. I do not schedule any type of client calls or any type of Zoom calls or anything of that nature on Mondays, because that's the day I'm going to be working on my business. Now, if that's the only day the person can talk, then I may have to make an exception. But on the norm, I do not schedule any type of meetings on Mondays, or unless it's with one of my team members that we need to discuss something about the business, then I have to make an exception for that as well. But on the norm, I do not schedule any type of meetings on Mondays. So she talks about putting time on your calendar to work on your business, and she protects it as if she's a tiger protecting her cubs. And that's how she thinks of it. Your business is your baby, in other words, right? You have to protect it. And it's really important to do that, because that's how you're going to reach your goals. That's how you're going to get to your why, right? One of your goals may be to earn X amount of dollars by the end of this year. Okay, we're halfway through the year. Are you on track to meet that goal by the end of this year? Or do you need to make a couple of changes, shifts, or whatever, so that you will be able to meet that goal by the end of this year? You only have the second half of the year to get it done, right? That's how you're going to make everything happen if you focus on your why and your time and use your time wisely, not by making sure everything is done all the time, by making sure the right things are done and putting away all the rest. In other words, setting up that designated time that you're actually going to sit down and do the work, whether it's a day you set aside to work on your business, or it's the other days of the week that you're working on your clients' work, or customers, working with your clients and customers, whatever that looks like for you, because it looks different for all of us, right? So give that some thought. If you have questions, of course, put them in the comments or set up a time to talk to me and we can talk about it, okay? To invite you to the Relationship Communications Facebook group. We have a ton of new members who just recently joined, and we're also going to be launching the Networking Method Launchpad for that now. That is a 3-day training that I do around networking. It is free. So if you're thinking about adding networking to your agenda for your business to help your business grow, then this may be a good fit for you. You might want to come join us for these 3 days. September 10th is when it starts, is day one. So go ahead and put that on your calendar. And again, come join the group, the Facebook group, and connect with other professionals. Interact with them. Put your business information. Post in that group about your business so that others know who you are and exactly it is what you do. I also want to invite you to our next networking mixer. The Relationship Communications does have a networking mixer, and it's next week, June 24th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So I would love to see you there. So put that on your calendar, make plans to join us. All the information for both of these are in the group. I'll make another post about that today so that you can. You have to sign up to come to the mixer as well. And you can sign up also for the 3-day event that starts in September. After all your kiddos go back to school. So, you may have more time on your calendar in September than you do right now. And I totally get that since it is summertime. Thank you very much for joining today or listening in today. If you are listening on the replay, please do use #replay to let me know. See you again soon.